Yo, yo, yo. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's staying blessed. Hope everybody's doing good. Just want to talk about vulnerability. I want to talk about how important vulnerability is to everybody around us. First and foremost, before I go into this word, I want people to understand that vulnerability should be a part of your life. It should just be a part of who you are. It should be a part of your mindset should have vulnerability intact in it. And the reason why I say this is not because it's not a dangerous world, not because it's not a toxic world, not because it's not a lawless world sometimes or a sinful world sometimes. What I'm really saying is the way things are designed, if you think about it, everybody that came into this world came into it at their most vulnerable state of being. As children, as babies, as toddlers, we came into this world with the dependency of everybody else around us. We couldn't be independent. We couldn't be self-dependent. We couldn't depend on anything else except what was in our environment. Literally. If you think about it, babies, just think about a baby. He needs breast milk. The baby needs nurturing. The baby needs protection. The baby needs shelter. The baby needs love, care, affection, right? And truth be told, sometimes the babies don't even get that. Sometimes kids don't even get that caring and loving and healthy environment. Sometimes kids don't get that. Sometimes they get that part of their life gets stolen from them. That's the truth. I'm not even gonna cap about that, right? But if it was done the right way, if it was really the right situation, the right family, the right environment, the right circumstance, there's no doubt in my mind that if God had if God took control, of everything, that it would not be the most loving and caring environment that every baby could have. But there's a thing called free will. And so God has to allow things to happen sometimes to some of us just so we can I think to build character, and I think to see sometimes what we don't want in our life, what we don't want for our future, what we don't want for our well-being. Sometimes we gotta learn the hard way or the other way. We gotta look at it from a different perspective. And then sometimes we get those beautiful lives, that beautiful home, that beautiful culture, that beautiful environment, and it's just a reminder of what we do want, what we hope for, what we look for, what we use as a reference, what we use as an example, and we use as a model to try to model for our own future, right? With our own family. But I really bring up this vulnerability thing because at the end of the day, if we can't be vulnerable, there is too many things that come with this life. There's too many downsides that come with this life. There's too many pains. There's too much trauma. There's too much hurt. There's too much downside, that sins that come with this life, that if we cannot be vulnerable with somebody, I'm not saying with everybody, but with somebody, with God himself. If anybody can be vulnerable, if you can be vulnerable with anybody, is with God himself. If you can't be vulnerable with anybody, you are setting yourself up for failure. You are going to burn yourself out. You are going to turn into the teapot that is boiling hot and just blows up, explodes, reacts, and does things that it wouldn't normally do in its right state of mind. Vulnerability is just part of our life. Women tend to be a little more vulnerable than guys. Probably a lot more, actually, because guys have been taught to be so hardcore, to be so strong, to be the toughest, to be the strongest, right? It's such a competition for guys where women are living in their emotion. My therapist the other day told me I need to lead with emotion. So I'm trying to lead with emotion today. And one thing I've learned is is that whenever I've cried, like I don't cry that much, I rarely cry. But whenever I find myself crying, or I find myself breaking down, or I find myself releasing anxiousness, depression, sadness, joy, laughing, whatever it may be, I always feel better. There's something about laughing hysterically that makes you feel better. There's something about crying about a situation that releases all the tension in your body. It's something about being able to laugh with your friends that just makes it such a good time. All these emotions, all this vulnerability, all this vulnerable nature that is part of us that we don't use. A lot of times, if we don't use it, it can be detrimental to our well-being. And it's true. Whether people believe it or not, whether you want to accept it or not, we have to be able to be vulnerable. We have to break down. Even cars have to, stop. Even machines have to be shut down sometimes, right? Everything has to shut down sometime. Everything has to sleep. Everything needs rest. And when you have all this built up tension, you need to be able to clean it out. And so all I'm really trying to get people to understand is that vulnerability is so important to your well-being. Vulnerability is so important to your lifestyle, your livelihood. And even though this world is a dark world sometimes, even though this world is unforgiving sometimes, that's the truth. It's unforgiving. Even though the world we live in is unforgiving, we have to find outlets and safe spaces to be vulnerable. Whether it's with a therapist, whether it's with your significant other, or whether it's with God Himself. You can't go wrong with God. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now. That man, I done balled out so many times with God, so I know how it is. And He is heartfelt. He is loving. He is the greatest father you could ever ask for, the greatest mother you could ever ask for, the greatest being you could ever know. And so I love Him dearly. I hope this resonates with people. I hope people can comprehend this. I hope people can understand this. And I hope people will use this and apply this to their life. So y'all stay good. Y'all stay blessed. And y'all stay well.